Hi everyone, and welcome along to this what we'll call part 7B. You've seen part 7 if you've been following the series of making this slightly larger than miniature hit and miss engine, stationary engine. We'd made the piston, we'd made the rings, but the rings were solid, they were unbroken. So we had to break the rings. Want to find out how to do that. And I've watched many YouTube videos of people doing it with a pair of pliers, doing it by making an expander and putting it in a press and fly pressing them till they snap. I've seen all sorts, but I come up with, I'm not going to say it's a better idea, it just sprung to my mind. I'd forgotten that I had a piece of equipment that you can probably see from where you're looking right now, and it's always been there and I never thought to use it. So without further ado, we'll bat on with it. So the idea in this video, we're going to take the rings, we're going to, a big spider, just went across my curtains, massive spider. Well, he's going to have to go, I'm afraid, you have to go outside. So we're going to crack the rings, we're going to expand them, heat treat them, and hopefully fit them to the piston. We've also got to make the piston fit the liner, because the liner's just rough bored. I did get a honing tool, and we'll see how we go on with that, because I left quite a few points of a millimetre. I think I left something like 0.7, 0.6 something, can't remember, of a millimetre on the bar, and I think it might be too much. I think there might be more to come off. Okay guys, without further ado, I'm going to go kill that spider. It's either him or me. No. Right guys, thank you. Right, this is the one that's a bit undersized, so I thought I'd have a go with this one first. And I was thinking about how to snap it, and I'd forgotten that I've got a ring stretcher for when I'm making rings, which I'll take it over and show you. Shall we see what happens? Put my little marker on where my notch is. And I'm not sure whether this will do it or not. Pretty worn out. That's there. I heard a crack. See that? So it's worked. So now I know how I can break them. No, I shouldn't use that word brake, because that's what I'm going to do after I've flipping expanded them. Go. They're going to take some heat treating without braking. Oh, I'm panicking. I'll get set up and I'll come back. So I know how to brake the rings now, so I've got 3 to do in that. Raise the temperature nice and slowly. Okay guys, so that's the 3 there done, plus that spare one. So they just need carefully filing back at an angle inside. I want them still so they're touched together. Okay. Yep, so I was told by somebody that uses a hone a lot that I've got no chance honing the amount I want to hone. It says just to get 0.1 of a millimetre honed. Well, it's got a lovely finish in there. It'd take your ages just to do 0.1 of a millimetre, and I'm just about at 25. I'll check it with bore gauges, but I'm at about 25 mil, so 0.4 to come off, and don't think for a minute it's going to do it. It'll just wear them stones out. Yeah, still loads to come off that. I think that's going to have to go back in 4-jaw, steady rest, and have some more taken out of it. But I will check it with bore gauges. It's at 987, so it's 987 thou. 87 with 10, 13. There's 13 thou to come off that. I suppose if you say it that way, it doesn't sound like a lot. 0.34 of a millimetre thereabouts to come off. Right, all of it floor. It don't sound much, does it? But when you're honing, it's just so slow coming off. But then I've got to be so careful. If I want to take off 13 thou, so if I said 10, half it, that's 5. I've set my dial at 5. Right guys, I'm going to switch off and back on again when I get ready, but I'm going to have to try and chuck this back up. I'll try it with 3-jaw, but I think I'm going to, no I can't, because I need to get all the way through, and I know I can't get all the way through with a 3-jaw because the hole in the middle. The hole in the middle is only 3/4 of an inch. My boring bar I'll end up smacking it unless I pack that out a little bit. Could do that with one of my spacers. I'll give it a go and I'll set it all up and I'll come back to you. Seven. Is 9 thou too much to take off with owning stones? Probably, yeah. Let's tighten some off. So we've got 900 and 96.5. So if we said it were 997, what, 8, 9, 10, it's 3.5. There's still 3.5 thou in that bar. Half a thou. Seems consistent. But I might have just run over a bit on this outer edge. But again, I said it does not matter. If I come right to edge, yeah, I'm overshot. Look, 0.04 of a thou, 0.3 of a thou. But that don't matter, because piston never comes that far, as I say. I think I can take it out of that. Oh, I'm so close. So close, but so far. Until I get this to fit in here, and then I can do it. Right, guys, that's enough for tonight, I believe. It's 11:15, and I've had enough. I've had enough for one day, so I've done plenty. Broke those rings, hardened them. Sorry, sprung them. So I'm pretty happy, and we'll get that right. We'll get that right. It's going in. It's just tight. It's going in that far, which is not far. That 8mm. But it's 8mm further than what it did when we started. Okay, so we'll come back tomorrow and do some more. So at long last, after much ado, as you'll have seen in the video, I had to put this back in the forger and use the steady rest on it and take some more out of the bore. Of course I was frightened to death I was going to take too much out, so I really gingerly took like half a thou at a time, believe it or not. And then I use this, the trusty honing tool. These, if you ever need one, they're not the big one that you use in a car cylinder. These are for brake cylinders on cars. It was something like £7.50 from eBay. I've just about worn out the stones. What a long task that was. Very long task. But the outcome, of course, is that we've got ourselves a piston that now fits in the bar. Now that ain't got a massive clearance on it, and I can't even guess what it is, but it's got to be just, I don't know, 1,500 to 2,000 of an inch. Very little clearance, but enough, I'd think. And I'm sure this thing's not going to run red hot. I'm not sure of the expansion rate of cast iron over aluminium. I suppose if they both expand the same, it won't seize anyway, but I don't think that'll seize up. So what's next? You saw me do the rings and heat treat them, and Jason, if you see this, thanks very much for all your tips and help. A lot of the things you've said I'd already done, but yeah, actually these are the rings that I thought were 1.8. I've made them 1.5. See if you can see that. So they're 1.5 something. They vary slightly. 1.45, 1.5. That's the Grec one that is too thin that way. It's 1.5859, but if I were to clean it up, which it hasn't been, it'd end up too small and it'd rattle on the piston. That's what I don't want. So now I know the piston fits, I'm happy. I'll take out those 2 Allen screws that I put in temporarily in the bottom there, because I've now got my proper grub screws. So I'll put 2 proper grub screws in there. Obviously they're going to want Loctiting in once this thing's all assembled. So far everything's gone great, we haven't lost anything. The only fear I've got is these rings. Now I'm going to carefully with a needle file chamfer the inside of these rings. You can't touch the outside, that needs to be a lovely square profile. But the inside I'm going to chamfer with the idea it's not going to rip onto the piston as much, and then I'm going to have a go at getting them on. Now once they're on, they're going to stay on. I'll not be taking them back off again. That's it, job done. Before I do that, I have to gap them in the bore, which I've got to do, and once I've gapped them, they don't actually look bad. Push that down. Actually I won't do it with a piston, I'll do it with that piece of that don't look bad at all. There is a ever so slight air gap there. Very slight. I was going to touch those up, but maybe not. Maybe that's okay. You've got to have a slight gap because expansion. You could see, look, you could seize them in the bore, couldn't you? No, that's fine. I'll try. I'll try. I'll fit them all. and then there's no point in doing that on camera. So they're all to trial fit. Once I'm happy that they fit, if I need to do any little bits of filing I will. I'll chamfer the inside edges and try and get them on the piston. I'll try and show you. I've taken out the M3 screws that I'd put in temporarily, and I've fitted the grub screws. You can see them or not. So they're going to bite all the way down. I ordered them the full length of that hole, so that I've got plenty of thread bite on there. And yeah, once I assemble all this, that'll get Loctited in, and then that gudgeon pin can't move and cause any damage. Okay, on to fitting piston rings. Right, I need to make some sort of fixture to hold that piston so it don't move around. I don't want to just sit it on bench and press on it. I want to hold it somehow, maybe in the bar. Right, we've sat the piston in the bar, and we've put a piece of alley down the bar and sat it on bottom of vice, nipped it in the alley jaws. I'm going to attempt to put a ring on. So I did put a little chamfer on them. Do I oil them? At this point, an exclaimer, you might hear swearing. I'll try not to, but I have a funny feeling what's going to happen. And it has. One down, two to go. This is what we're fearful of. And I could try ringing that groove first. It's saying, I wouldn't say it was slack. There's a right little bit of, I can spin it. Of course, I've got to get next one on now, and that ain't going to be as easy. So do I try and transfer that one now down onto the next groove and then put the top one on? I think I'm going to have to. Right, I've chamfered that one. Just trying to think whether I've touched that inside edge. So, last chance saloon. Come on. Come on, baby. Bottom one. Top one. Expanded. I can push them around, push them in a groove, they come out other side, so they're free enough. One piston done. I'm quite happy that that has turned out, because I had my 50-50 doubts on that one. So what have I got? I've got a spare ring that's a bit undersized, and I've got a spare 2/2 of ring. Make a key ring out of it. 2 pieces of broken ring. Oh well. In fact, that can go in fixture box, which is also for failures. Right guys, I think now I've done that, I'll edit this up and I'll bob it on YouTube. That's part 7B, I think. Very happy with that. And I did say that I'd actually done something with conrod, and the conrod now fits too, so that's all good. I've put some rag around that, I'll tell you why. I've got a little tin here, it's just an old tea caddy tin, and that conrod were resting in the tin, and where it was touching the tin of the metal, it marred it all, it marked all the conrod. I had to repolish it, put a right stain on it. What will next part be? I don't know, I'll probably take this conrod and the crank over to my mates and see if we can reassemble it. He's got a proper knife edge thing for building crankshafts on, and it gets it like to within a thou. Well, get bang on, not to within a thou, it gets it bang on. Dial gauges on them and all, so it's proper fixture he's got for doing crankshafts on classic bikes. So that'll be my next job. I might even take my camera with me and see if he'll let me video, and I can show you him doing it for me, because I'm sure he'll do it for me, not with me, and I can video it and put it on. Be interesting for motorbike guys. Okay, I'll swing camera around, we'll do a finish off. Hi again everyone. So that's the end of it. We've managed to do it. I was really doubtful, I really was doubtful I could get them rings onto those pistons. Strangely, there's a guy at Model Engineering site, you know who you are, Jason, and he's had a look at these videos. He's thrown some tips and stuff at me, which is good, because I mean, he's obviously much more experienced than I am at doing this sort of thing. He's done lots of steam engines and various other things. But he'd said you want to try making your piston rings to 1.5mm, and I thought I'd done them at 1.8. But when I measured them today, sure enough they were 1.5 already. I knew I'd done slots 2mm deep, and I knew that were too deep and there were no way I'd get them rings on. And it was something like an afterthought. I thought, they ain't going to go on. So we've done it, we've got them on, have you seen it? We broke a ring, I made 4. I've got one spare which is probably a grit because it's probably too thin, and I've got the 2 that's on there and a broken one. So quite happy with that. I've not pushed it through bore yet, but it'll go in. That piston fits nicely now, so that'll go in. And then the next part, which will be part 8, is going to be, I think it's going to be, the cylinder head to make, valves to make, valve guides to make. A lot of these engines, the little miniature ones, they cut the valve seats directly into the head, and then they bore through to the back of the head and they put a brass valve guide and a valve seating area for the spring, but they lap the valve to the aluminium face of the head, which personally I won't think it'd run that long for that. It'd burn away eventually. So would brass, but last a lot longer. So I was going to make it in brass. The idea would make it in cast iron, a proper one, complete sleeve that fit through the head. Then you bore through from the outside, from the side of the head, through for the port, whether it be inlet or exhaust, and clean that up, and you'd have a cast iron seat to work with. But that's a bit over the top. This thing ain't going to run that long, I should imagine. So if I ever do get it running, it'll probably drive me mad going pop, da 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 da, pop, da da da. But anyway, you've got to do it, haven't you? Thanks guys for watching. Give us a thumbs up and a subscribe if you like, if you've never seen my channel before. There's lots more on this to do. I don't know how many parts it's going to go over. I set 10 up on computer and I'm already, next one will be 8, so it's going to be more than 10, a lot more, because there's all the side cheeks to make yet. There's some more machining on this body to do underneath, radiusing, and I'm not still 100% sure whether I'm going to get my anodizing kit out and anodize this. Because I've got all...
What does he want? What does he...
You're now on YouTube. I'm just finishing video up. I'm just talking to my camera. I'll have to chop that all off. Oh, never mind.